Okay, let me see. No, it still says waiting. Okay, there.
We're live.
It's
We're
live.
live.
Okay, let me see.
All right.
No, it still says waiting.
You gotta move your face. Welcome to Rookie Rescue. I'm Ara from Don't Blink.
Let's just let people shuffle in.
Damn, bro.
Sorry. Like, check the Discord.
Wait, what is waiting?
I think they're in, guys.
They used to say like
You
how
just
many
like
viewers there were.
type in chat, you know.
Oh yeah, it's live. Yeah, we're good. Okay, cool.
All right. All right. Welcome to Rookie Rescue. I'm Ara from Don't Blink,
I'm Neil.
I'm Nahal.
and this is our first session of the Decode season. Today we're going to be talking about kickoff expectations with our guest. If you want to introduce yourself.
My name's Eduardo. I'm one of the co-captains of Weeping Angel FTC 29999.
All right.
Make it lower. Okay, yeah. Nice to have you here. We'll go ahead first into our first bullet. If you want to talk.
So as you guys probably know, tomorrow is kickoff. So that's when the game is released, and everyone will find out what the new game is for the Decode season.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they
Kickoff
can't
is
hear it.
tomorrow.
They can't hear it.
They said they can't hear.
Oh, maybe our sensitivity is too low.
All right, wait. Do you turn it up?
Yeah, I turned it up.
Can they hear it now? Can you guys hear it now? Where's the stream thing? Can you guys hear us? Parsh, can you hear us? We can hear you guys. Can you hear Dardo?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hey Parsh, we're relying on you. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Alright.
Thank you, Parsh. All right. Let's head back to the live stream. Okay. Cool. Sorry about that.
It's so sensitive. Like, can you not like turn it down?
But then they couldn't hear us.
Really? Okay. That's kind of okay. You have to like stand back.
Turn down a little bit though.
Okay. Okay. Do I have to redo the intro?
No, it's fine. Just say it.
Okay. Yeah. So loud.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is FTC Rookie Rescue. We're Don't Blink, and we've been a team since 2018. Today, we're going to be going through Kickoff and what you can expect at Kickoff tomorrow. The game releases at 12 o'clock, and the theme for this year is Decode. We're really excited because we get to see the game and we get to see the field, and we can see everything we're going to be doing for the next 6 months, 7 months. So I'm really excited.
Heading right into it, Dardo. I know you have a rookie team with Weeping Angels, and I know you have some previous FTC experience. I wanted to know if you were doing anything with your rookies to, I guess, kind of help them out, like start out the season with whether it's mechanical outreach or anything like that.
No, yeah, that's a really good question. So kind of what we did, starting the summer, we started with the idea we wanted to make an off-season like demo bot. And so we started doing that, teaching people CAD and programming skills, and just all of that. So we started with CAD and then designed it, built it, prototyped it all the way up to we have a working wiffle ball shooter robot that we made for the off-season. And that's one of the things we did, as well as just training, just having people practice, going over the rules from last season, just talking over some of those general things, like some of the changes in the most recent game manual that came out in early August as well, like the advancement points and stuff, and just going
Yeah.
all over that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know Game Manual 1 is out already. Tomorrow Game Manual 2 gets released. And all the rookies.
I'm just excited for game manual too. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. All the rookies should be looking at that and reading that thoroughly. Make sure you understand all the rules and all the where to score, how to score, all of that. Um, yeah. You talked about the new ranking system. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Um, Me personally, I think it's a good inclusion to this coming year. I think there's going to be some more strategy involved, some
Mm-hmm.
differences in advancement as well, and just overall strategy between prioritizing awards and robot game, which
Yep.
is something really crucial, especially for rookies to understand as well.
Yeah. Um, yeah. That's completely true. I know we are kind of excited for it because it's different. I don't know how it'll work for us or for everyone. Um, but yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that. You guys want to like any thoughts?
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, like the new ranking system is basically that based on your performance in both awards and the eliminations and qualification rounds, you get a certain amount of points, and then based on who has the most points, those are the teams who advance.
Yeah. All right, and then uh, again for the rookies, Game Manual 2 gets released. Dara, how do you make sure that your team members understand the rules and will obviously know the rules so that when you're building the robot, they don't make it illegal?
Yeah, so kind of what we did when the first game manual came out is we kind of just went through it a little bit, took some notes, we had some whiteboards out, and just sort of discussing it, like asking questions, just thinking about the different aspects of it and seeing what changed, as
Mm-hmm.
well as just like some of I guess there was some like recaps of all of the different changes and stuff like out online or other like videos or slideshows made. So we would go through that, just things like that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for us, what worked for us was we actually went into a different season and we had all our rookies come together. We have a bunch of rookies this year. We had all of them come together. We did a previous game with them and we helped them strategize for that game and read all the rules for that game too. Any?
I think one thing that's really important about Game Manual 2 is like everybody should 100% read the entire thing because there's like lots of times when you'll make a robot or design something with the idea in mind that it is legal and that it will pass when you're actually playing. But there have been countless times when Don't Blink has gone into a match, done something they thought would be legal, and it turns out we got a massive penalty and we lost that match, and it affected our overall ranking. So um, that's kind of another nice thing about going to in-person kickoffs because usually there are referees there that have already studied Game Manual 2, and they're able to give you like all like the whole scoop and all the information that you can get. So if you have any like uh, questions that will change the game a lot, or at least for your robot design, it's important to ask when you're there.
Yeah, that's one of the many benefits of going to in-person kickoff in your local region. Um, I wanted to ask you, Dardo, how you manage, how you're gonna plan to manage, or how you already manage doing outreach and technical, like whether you split the team into different sections, or you all do one thing, or you all like combine, or what?
No, yeah, that's a really good question. So kind of the way we've been doing it is we think that everyone should be involved in all aspects or whatever they want to be involved in, especially outreach. That way everyone knows what your team is doing and is involved and participating. So we started doing some of that over the summer actually. And so we've been working on that. And then over the school year, just fitting it in between everyone's schedules, most likely on the weekends or after schools or things like that, scheduling different outreach initiatives and just planning all of that out, as well as documenting it has been a really big part for us. We've really been focusing on writing it all down and describing what it's been with and pictures and all of that, just so we have it saved for when it's time to make the portfolio and we can remember without having to recall like 6 months behind or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah. You guys have any other thoughts on that?
Well, I personally can't hear Dardo, so. But I imagine he said something along the lines of like everyone does everything type of vibe for the team. That's
Mhm.
definitely what Don't Blink likes to do. Um, we especially this year with the new ranking system, the fact that they are looking for more well-rounded teams is definitely something that's really important because, um, like before, you could advance to states or worlds just based on winning robot game. But now you need that overall ranking to like actually sustain your place in the like people that advance.
All right, and then you want to take us into our next?
Yeah, so the next thing we're going to talk about is like strategy during the game. So one thing you guys want to look out for during like after watching the live stream of the new game is identifying like kind of like low hanging fruit versus like advanced scoring in the game itself. So like for example, from the Into the Deep season, the net zone was a more easy way to score. However, you didn't get as many points as doing some of the harder ones. So you just want to figure out what you can do with your team as quick as you can to get ready for early season matches.
Yeah. Dara, how do you prioritize what you want to do within the game? Like whether it's, I guess, for last season, how would you prioritize if you wanted to do specimen or sample or anything like that?
Yeah, so I know it works differently for different regions, but at least here in Texas, we have league meets, which lead up to like our area competition. And so we kind of go in with the idea we're going to start with League Meet 1, which is typically in November for us. We're going
Mm-hmm.
to just start with a basic robot that can just score the most simple tasks just so we're able to score. And then we kind of build off of that. And so where we start at the beginning is kind of seeing all the different scoring options, which one is the most achievable, the fastest, and we can get the most consistent versus also comparing points wise like what you get the most bang for your buck for essentially.
Yeah.
And also prioritizing end game. So hang, we tried to add that on at the first meet just so we could get that out of the way. And because that's a big chunk of points, especially at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. And again, if anyone watching has any questions, please put them in the chat. We'll answer any question that you have, whether it's related to kickoff or not. We'll answer them. But yeah, I think what you said was really great. Making a good robot for the beginning and the league meet, and then getting some points. I know, especially now with the ranking points and all, going into your league meet or your qualifier meet, whatever gets you advanced. I know you want to have a good qualifier rank. Is that one of the ways that you're going to be able to do that?
Yeah, so I'm don't exactly recall how exactly the league meet rankings work. I know it still takes your top 10 at least for um
Mm-hmm.
if you have multiple league meets. But yeah, it's definitely a big part still getting all of those matches in because every single match counts or your top 10 matches count for that up to the league championship. And so that's kind of what our goal is to start out strong. That way we're not stressing at the end like the
Yeah.
last competition trying to get all those matches in.
Yep. Of course. You have anything else to add? Anyone? No.
Yeah, I think we should hop into brainstorming because that's definitely a big part of kickoff. And there's like a lot of different ways that teams go about brainstorming. Sometimes you can be brainstorming in like a group or split into different subgroups and then maybe synthesize your ideas from there. But like Dardo, how do you go about doing that? Do you come up with ideas like as a team? How many like days do you take to finish your final idea? Stuff like that.
Yeah, so I guess kind of what we've done is we don't really set specific time limits on brainstorming ideas. We sort of start with the different ideas. We maybe 3D print something, prototype something out of wood, etc., and just try and see will this work? Is it viable if we change something or not? And if not, then we kind of see can we improve it? Is there any other viable solutions or things like that? Obviously, you don't want to take terribly long trying to get one solution to work. And so you kind of want to have that ability to move on when you know something's not going to work and you're just wasting your time on it because you have a limited amount of time from kickoff to your first competition.
Yeah, that's definitely something good to remember. I know what we do right after the game is released is we split up into different groups and then we each try to think about what things might be good to add on a robot, like what design features, and then we come together, share ideas, and like kind of discuss like what we think will work, what we think won't work, and how we can like go about starting our prototyping process.
Yeah, I think every rookie team should at least try some prototyping, whether it's whatever idea you come up with, whether it's grabbing any game element with a claw or a spinning intake, testing that, making sure it works, and just whipping out some sort of design in CAD and then printing that out, cutting that out, anything you need to do, whether it's just a rough, like you're free building something with go build a or any other COTS parts, or you're actually building something, it's just very important that you want to prototype everything to make sure it works before you head into your really final build. Um,
Like the worst thing that could happen is like, you design, you build a whole robot and then you go to like test it and it doesn't work. So that's why prototyping is really important, and it doesn't have to be like anything fancy either. Like you could just use like a drill with some like zip ties on it to try to see if like a certain type of intake would work, or like that's what we usually do.
Also, something I would definitely stress for kickoff is it's really important, or not necessarily really important, but it's a good idea to take inspiration from previous years. So, for example, last year it was kind of cool to look at robots from Skystone. So, when we were building a robot, we looked at Gluten Free and a couple other teams because they had really good robots for that season. And we noticed that we could replicate something similar to that in order to build something that would hopefully score a bunch of points in this game. And there's definitely a lot of changes. Like last season, it wasn't in taking big blocks. Instead, it was these small samples. But anything you can take, anything you can think of is a really good way to get started.
yeah. So Darda, how do you when you have your prototypes, how do you say that it's good enough that you want to use it on your actual robot?
Yeah, so typically what we do is, I know y'all mentioned starting with the drill. We do that similarly, and we kind of evolve from there. We see, okay, it's time to 3D print this and then test it. It's time to maybe make it out of wood or polycarb or things like that and then test it. And just running it through, if it's an intake per se, just running it through a bunch of different intake, I guess, situations. Like if it's in the corner of the submersible, like last year, or
Mm-hmm.
if it's against a wall, just seeing how well it works and how it reacts. And then I guess the next step would be actually mounting it on the robot, because on the robot it does different things. You could have power draw issues, you could have just intaking issues, height difference issues, all
Mm-hmm.
of that. And so that would be the next step, I'd say, in I guess prototyping and just seeing if your design works.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess just trying it in every angle that you have and everywhere on the field to make sure that works, and then actually slapping it on your robot. And then I guess that would take us to iterating. If you find it on the robot and it doesn't work, obviously you want to iterate it. You can make it so you can take it off very easily, and then maybe expand upon that idea. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I think like iterating is a really important part of the process, because like even for us, like the first time we do anything, like it doesn't work and we have to keep changing and like making things better until we finally get something that works.
Yeah, I think like honestly, that's one of the parts about FTC. Like, it will never work the first time. Like, it's always gonna be horrible. And like, um, once you get to that point where you've gone through multiple seasons and you've found out like the kinks and things that like usually don't work, it gets a little bit easier from there. But as a rookie team, it's gonna be difficult, um, especially coming up with ideas, which is why I brought up like taking inspiration. So definitely depend on that and try to remember the concept of non-finality. Like nothing is ever the best that it can be. You can always improve on something, but also make sure you're not changing things way too late in the game, because if you're changing something right before a really big match, it's not a good idea. It will crash and crash and burn. We trust me. We know that better than anyone. So
Yeah, and I guess that takes us into one of our first questions. What should we consider when designing a robot? Dardo, you want to answer this?
Yeah, so when designing a robot, you have to consider, you start with the drivetrain, you start with your subsystems. Do you need a hang? Is there a weight limit? Is there a height limit? All of those different things. I know there's a new servo limit this year. You need to start with all of that considered in mind when designing, because you don't want to design something and then it doesn't meet the qualifications, or you have to go redesign it. Like in center stage, for example, you had the bars you had to be able to fit under, and
Mm-hmm.
so I would start with that design constraint if it was center stage. Last year, I know you had to do hang, so you would want a more lighter robot, in my opinion. And just those different things, like what your goals are for the season and what you're trying to accomplish down the road.
Yeah, I think definitely identifying where you want to score your points. And again, if it's like last season, whether it's samples or specimen, or you want to do both, I think identifying that. Do you have anything else you guys want to add?
Yeah, you also want to look at the field and see like what type of robot you would want for that field and that game. So like, for example, if like different elements are super close together, you wouldn't want like a really wide or like long robot because you'd want to be able to fit through like the smaller areas. Or like versus if it's a more defensive game, you'd want like a bigger robot so you don't get like pushed around on the field.
Yeah. And then the next question we had is, what would be the ideal time to finish your first prototype robot? Dardo, you want first take?
Yeah, I can take that. So I guess it depends. I know different regions have different competitions at different times. So here in Texas, our first competition is about mid-November. So obviously you want to have the robot done being built so programming can take it and you can get the auto going. You can program the teleop and just test it, run it through matches and things like that, like at your field before the competition, so you can get all the bugs out and start iterating again, like you mentioned, if something doesn't work. So I would say um, about if your competition's in mid-November, I would shoot for somewhere in October just so you have time to program and debug as well. Because you're obviously going to be running late because in robotics, it always takes a lot longer than you expect. So you just want to leave yourself enough time to get everything done and test it fully.
Yeah, of course. I think having it done at least a couple weeks before your first competition, and then either having your programming done by then, or definitely having your program done before like first 2 weeks of your before 2 weeks before your competition. 2 weeks before your competition, you want to have your programming done, have your autos done, all tested, and then if there's anything you need to change, and always have driver practice with that prototype robot, with any robot you have. I think it's very important that you have driver practice, and making sure that if anything's gonna break, it breaks before the competition so you can fix that. You have anything you want to add? No.
Okay. Wait, I have something to add. So I will say that I think rebuilding, like as a concept, it's like always very iffy. Like I'm not just saying this because we didn't make a great rebuild last year. I'm saying it because like it's honestly usually very hard to do because you don't have that much time and you're working under a time crunch. So I would say as a rookie team, try to build one robot and like try to get it done or try to get it right the first time. And like obviously like you can iterate on the like individual mechanisms within your robot, but I would say it's better to keep the whole chassis the first time around, because it's really difficult. And also like for a lot of teams it can be difficult or it can be like harder because you have to pay extra money sometimes to get new parts that you want for your new robot. So you have to like keep all those things in mind, especially as a rookie team when you might not have as much funding as another team might would after like doing sponsorships and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Make sure you keep it as simple as you can while making it as effective as you can.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
yeah, make sure it's simple and effective. I think that's the best way to make your robot competitive.
Answer what should we consider when designing a robot?
We did that.
I guess we did that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The next question is, what's the most effective way to quickly prototype and test mechanisms for a robot before committing to a final design? Dardo?
Yeah,
Huh?
so it really depends on the mechanism, but for an intake per se, I'd start with, everyone starts with the typical surgical tubing intake. So you have a shaft and you have surgical tubing spinning, and you just kind of want to see what geometry works best to make like either the sample um, or whatever element it is to flow into your robot the best.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you start with the claw, just seeing how you can grab it the best, or just really starting with what's the best way to grab that element or deposit it, or really whatever task you're going for. I don't know if that answered it fully, but
Yeah, of course. Neil, you were saying something?
Yeah, like you said, like you don't need to have anything like super crazy. Like I mean, if you're looking for a quick and effective way, like like a drill or like it really depends on what you're prototyping. If you're trying to prototype a claw, like you could see if you could quickly like 3D print like a simpler version of it and see how well it like grasps the pieces. But like you don't need anything like you don't need like your whole robot to be prototyped. Like, but you
Yeah.
should be testing.
Yeah. And then also like from a long-term perspective, like in terms of like days you spend prototyping and then when you start actually building your full chassis, I would say it's you should definitely take your time prototyping because you don't want to just put something on your robot that you don't believe in and that doesn't work as effectively as another mechanism could. And also, I think that do you guys use crickets? Okay, no, never mind. Okay, so uh, I think just make sure that you save ample time for building a robot because it always takes more time than you think it will.
Yeah. And I think if you're like scared whether you should put it on your robot or something, I guess if you're scared, like always like look at the prototype and make sure that it works somewhat decent. And if it doesn't and you have no other ideas, put it on there for now and try running it. You'll see like either you'll find a way to improve it or you'll find some way to put another thing on or whatever it is you need to do to iterate it. I think you'll find that it's easier than you think. You just have to leave time for it. Um, the next question we have is what teams should we take inspiration from? You want to go for it?
Yeah, so I guess if you're looking at previous seasons, what I typically do is kind of compare it, see what the game is most related to. Like Neil mentioned, Skystone was kind of similar to this past year Into the Deep. And so I kind of see which seasons are most related or what type of mechanisms we're going for to best complete the task. And so there's not a specific team that I typically look at. It's more of the designs and the previous seasons that kind of line up with that.
Yeah, I think looking at any team that post stuff on YouTube and just looking at whatever you find on YouTube is always a great inspiration because um, I think a lot of teams on YouTube have so many good ideas. And if you find a team that you don't like their idea, I mean, that's okay, but just keep looking through multiple videos just to see, where you can find inspiration from. Anything else, guys? No? No? All right. Then we'll go to the next question. What things should you pay attention to when building your robot? Dardo?
Yeah, so I guess me specifically, I've made numerous mistakes when building a robot. Make sure you put your drivetrain panels on the right way. And also, like, if any screws are deep inside your robot and the robot's moving and stuff, it'll eventually come loose. So you might want to think about Loctiting those so they don't come loose and then you don't have access to them and then your robot's just broken for the rest of the
Yeah.
competition. And just really thinking ahead, having access to all of your different parts and being able to take stuff apart quickly or have backup parts specifically. If you go to competition and you have a 3D printed claw and it breaks, and you don't have a backup, then you're hosed. So you want to make sure you have a backup 3D printed claw or backup pinchers or just backup parts so you're able to replace it and keep playing the matches.
Yeah, I think it's always a good idea to have backup parts. And I know if you have any screws that come loose a lot, Loctite, if you don't know for the rookies, it's a liquid that you put on screws to lock the threads so that it can't come loose. A lot of teams have issues where the screws fastening an arm or something will come loose a lot, and then the arm won't function as the best it can. So it's always a good idea tighten those screws and make sure they look okay and all that. Do you guys have anything else you want to add?
Blue Loctite.
Yeah, so he said blue Loctite because that's one of the types of Loctite. You can find a variety of Loctite, but always look for the blue one. Yeah,
Blue still allows them to come out.
yeah. The difference is the strength it is. Red, I think, has the hardest, and you will never be able to take it out. And then blue is softer, where it won't come out unless you put some force into it. All right. Next is, what are some things that you shouldn't do when at a meet?
Yeah,
Wait,
so
what? Sorry, wait, Dardo. One other
no,
thing
you're good.
for the last question, pay attention to when building your robot. Make sure that you're like completing all the goals that you made and like you're able to do all the challenges. I would say you should design your robot to do auto the best that it can because auto is double the score of tele. So anything that you score in auto is like always more points. So basically, like in previous games, it's been if you win auto, you basically win the game. So it's like and like there's obviously been exceptions to that, like last year during MTI, I think, but it's just like it's important to build for auto because that's the most points, and don't overcomplicate. Don't Blink has done that way too much, and I promise you, it's not as good as you think it will be. Next question.
All right. Now, do you want to answer that question?
Yeah, so I guess things not to do at meets is you always want to be a gracious professional, follow the first core values, all of that, and just be respectful to the refs and all the volunteers because they're there for you, they're there to help you, and they're there because they love robotics and they love inspiring kids and just helping out in general. Um, so just be respectful to all of them because they're spending their weekends and their days there so that you have a good experience and have a good competition. That'd be the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts? Anyone?
What was the question?
What shouldn't you do at a meet?
Don't at our and if you're in NJ, don't step over the yellow chain. Be gracious.
Yeah, of course, obviously be gracious. Don't go running around like screaming people's names trying to get stuff, but like do it gracefully, like graciously. Yeah, graciously. Yeah, you want to make sure like you're walking while you're getting tools from the pit to the field or stuff like that, and make sure you follow whatever rules your local referees or whatever have. Yeah,
You want to be like nice to everybody, like all the other teams. You don't want to put anyone down. Like if somebody asks you for like a part that you have or like a tool that you have, just lend it to them. Like, just be nice to everyone.
Also, like, you shouldn't be cursing too much at meets. Like,
at all.
like obviously everybody is like, we're all like in high school, but like it gets to a point. Like, just try to be gracious about it. Like, don't do too much. Okay. Next question. I think we'll answer one more question. We should send a new Zoom link. I asked in the chat. Everybody said it was okay.
Okay, yeah. So we're gonna make a new Zoom link real quick, and then we'll send it to you, and then join from there.
I'm ending this.
All right.
photo.
Okay.
We're still on.
I know.
We're still live, right?
Yeah.
How the heck do I do this, guys? I'll go out.
Okay. Schedule. Oh yeah. Host. Open.
Where's the link though?
It'll like come in like the thing.
Live.
No, like you have to start.
Start it,
Oh shoot, sorry guys.
and then go to share.
Who's sharing?
No, not share. You go to more.
It's definitely not
No,
share.
you go
Oh
more.
my god.
Oh.
Yo, somebody call me.
Oh wait, it's not there.
Really hope this works, guys. Wait, are the messages like viewable?
Yeah.
How to?
Yeah.
Wait, let me just go to this. Turn this off for a second. Okay. Just let everybody know that you'll be joining.
Yeah. You'll be joining soon. Should we just like answer some questions?
Oh yeah, why not?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
Wow, we're getting lots of questions today, guys.
Um.
Yeah, that was like a moment.
Yeah.
Oh.
You should like.
No, you can't do it now.
Nah, it's too late. Okay. um. What are some of the most important parts of the robot that you need to pay attention to while prototyping?
Wait, check his messages. It might have not worked or something.
Hit
Don't
him.
worry.
Wait, did you make it like? Did you send the right link? No, that's not what you. Go back to the meeting.
Yo, we're really sorry, everybody.
He said we're really sorry.
I feel like it just used to be there.
Yo,
Oh, participants.
Is that it?
Password? He's saying there might be a password.
No, there isn't one for this.
He said give me password.
Yeah, for the last link.
Oh.
Should be fine. Yo, I want some apologies out of you guys.
For what? Oh, okay. All right, welcome back. Okay.
All right, Dardo, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. The next question was, what are some of the most important parts of the robot that you need to pay attention to while prototyping?
So I would say for the most important parts of the robot to pay attention to, it depends on the game really. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say, but definitely the drivetrain, the most crucial part. You just want to make sure it drives straight. You have all the capabilities. Typically, most teams do mechanism drivetrain. So you want to make sure your wheels are all good, your motors are all good. And then just yeah, figuring out those subsystems and if there's a hang would be the biggest points for me. I know it's been repeated before earlier, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. I think if you're obviously, it depends on what you're prioritizing and what you're actually trying to score on. But I think always prototype everything really. Even like from the hang to the intake to the deposit. I think it's important that you prototype everything. Anything?
It really depends on the archetype of your robot. Like, there's some things that you know will work. Like for example, like slides. Like slides, you don't necessarily need to prototype because you know that okay, they're gonna go up, they're gonna go down. I guess it's important to like start building them early if you haven't ever built slides in the past, if the game needs it, by the way. But like let's say your archetype is like same intake, same depot, as in like there's only one mechanism doing both things. You don't necessarily need to prototype like two different types of methods to do both if they're, doing the same thing. So like you can just prototype one claw at the end of the day. So yeah, comes down to your archetype the most.
Yep. Nail, do you have anything? Nothing? All right. Okay. The next question is, what amount should a rookie team target for funding? This is perfect for you, Dardo.
Um, that's an interesting question. I mean, there's not a specific amount in my mind that comes up. I mean, you obviously want to have more after you pay for the registration and you get the game and the field and all of that. I'd say a robot costs somewhere between like $2,000 depending. And so I would say, yeah, and then after registering and getting the field and all of that, that's almost another 2,000. So maybe sit somewhere around 6 to 8,000 ideally.
Yeah, I think that's like a lot. I think try to get as much funds as you can, of
No,
course,
yeah.
but also a lot of old teams, old veteran teams will have old parts that they don't want to use. I think always reaching out to them, seeing what they can do for you would always be a huge help.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Do you have anything else? No? Okay. Nothing? Okay. The next question is, what tips do you have when we are getting judged?
Yeah, so for judging specifically, I know in previous years I've really tried to make sure everyone has their parts memorized and that way you're not walking in there with note cards or just winging it. In my opinion, just really practicing judging, practicing Q&A, having all that prepared as well as like posters and models and all of that really helps just communicate what you're trying to show in your team's story.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Yeah, like if you just like go on Google and search up like questions that the judges might ask, like FTC judging questions and things, like you'll get a lot of them, and they'll be split up into like the different judging categories as well. So I know like that's really helpful, like just going through the questions and like like you don't have to like script exactly what you're gonna say, but like it's helpful to kind of like have an idea. And like even if you do get a question that like you don't exactly know the answer to, like you shouldn't let there be like silence for too long. You want to like even if like you don't know exactly like the perfect answer, like just answer it however like you think. Like there shouldn't be like silence in the room.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, again, what you said, always, always, always practice. I think practicing at least 2 weeks before is always a good idea. Making sure everyone has their parts memorized if you're doing a script. Yeah, make sure they have their parts memorized and doing a lot of Q&A practice. That's always amazing.
I would say like one other thing is making sure that everything you say in the judging room lines up with things you've written down in your portfolio. So if you're lying, and obviously we don't approve of that, but if you are, it's important to like just get your story straight, because it's just like it's really unprofessional and it's like very ungracious to do that in a setting. So and like even if you're like being completely truthful, if the if what's coming out of your mouths when you're in that judging room doesn't line up with what's going on, then the judges start to feel like, okay, who actually did the work and who actually knows. And I would say another thing is obviously, I think being really nice to the judges is always a nice thing, and like anything you can do to like ensure it's just a smooth experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, don't get nervous.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, if you have all the numbers in your portfolio should be true, but sometimes it's easy to mix them up. Just make sure you know your numbers so that when you say them, they line up and the judges don't have any questions about that. They know for certain you did this X amount of hours, X amount of people, and like all that stuff.
Yeah, and also like when you're like answering questions, like you want to give like examples of things you've done maybe. So you want to make sure that you know your engineering portfolio like really well, and you know like all the information from your portfolio. And like for like the silence thing, like you should have like something with your team like pre-decided, like, oh, like if it's been like 3 seconds and no one has answered the question, like this person's gonna like, or like somebody's just gonna say something.
Yeah, that's, yeah. All right. And then the next question is,
I think there's some above this.
right here. Okay. What do you think the most common mechanism for a robot throughout all past seasons? That's a good question.
Yeah, I think definitely Masumi slides are up there, especially most recently in the past like 3, 4 years. That definitely gets used a lot. Just slides between extendo and lift. It's been applicable for the past 3 years at least. Just having slides that can score would be my thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just any sort of lift mechanism. There's a lot of lifting, and past few years there's been some hangs, um, and then I think there's always a claw, something to grab something.
There's always an intake.
Yeah,
pretty
intake.
much always an intake. So like I think it's good to learn the difference between an active intake and a passive intake, and you can do that in GM0. But for like a quick summary, a passive intake is one that is like a claw's prongs, whereas an active intake deals with sweepers that basically are running with a motor that intake things generally a lot quicker. So no matter what, there's like that's probably always going to be in the game, because there's always game elements and you have to move them around and like manipulate them. So
Anything else? All right. Next question. What is the best way to go about managing our time during the season?
I think that's definitely something to do before like the whole season gets into motion. Have your plan. I know me personally, we kind of planned out what we want to do with the robot, like week by week, what our goals are. Obviously, you're not guaranteed to accomplish them, but it kind of just has something to work towards and just keep you on track for your first competition. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I guess having some sort of outline that you want to follow for your robot build.
Yeah, like like you want your design done by this time. You want like this subsystem done by like this time, and like every single day, like what we do is we put stuff like we have our Discord server, which is how we communicate. So we'll have like, oh, today we want to accomplish this, this, and this is what we accomplished yesterday. This is what we still need to do, like, and if we're on track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. Um, The next question is, what's the best approach to handling unexpected robot failures during a match?
Yeah, that's a fun one. I think everyone experiences this. What I try and do is address the problem first, figure out what exactly is causing that problem. That's like the most crucial part, in my opinion, is seeing what exactly is causing that problem and then seeing what you can do. Is it fixable by the next match? Do you have to wait till lunch to fix it? Is it fixable at all? Are you done for the rest of the day? Do you have those spare parts that we talked about earlier? And just
Mm-hmm.
really addressing the problem and seeing the time frame it'll take to fix it.
Yeah, of course. I think always just look. And again, we talked about this before. Your driver practice before the meet even starts will help distinguish a problem. Like if you have a problem, you can solve it a couple weeks before, you know? And I guess, again, the extra parts always helpful in looking for where the problem is. And I think one thing that helps to mitigate these robot failures is to look closely at your robot before every match. Like while you're either when you're on the queuing table or you're in your pit, just go through your whole like robot. Like you should by then hopefully you know where your robot is the weakest, and then look near that part, look at everywhere, all the screws, and make sure everything's intact and that everything will work. And if it's not, obviously, try to tighten everything, or have your one of your drive team just sit there, because you have to show a representative for the match if you can't compete, of course. Is that it?
Yeah, one thing I really liked that another team did that I saw at a competition. I don't remember. I think it might have been Enforcers, but a lot of teams do this around the world. They like print out a sheet of things to do before every match, and they stick that to their uh, like little box to hold all the game controllers and stuff. And that's like so helpful because when you're at that queuing table and you're running through your whole robot, it's helpful to have a list of things to like usually go wrong. And it's just a good reminder of like to make sure that your robot doesn't break. It minimizes the chances.
Yep. All right. Is that all for this question?
So another question we have is, what is a mistake you learned the most from?
Hmm. That's a tough one because I've made a lot of mistakes personally. Um, Hmm. I think probably one of the biggest one that's a reoccurring thing is I do some of the build, but also software side, and it's really differentiating if it's a build error or if it's a software error. And in my experience, 90% of the time, it's like a hardware issue. So like if a servo's not working, or something, I think it's a programming thing. I tried programming it three different ways, and then I come to realize that it's not plugged into the control hub. And so that's my biggest thing is really just figuring out if it's a software issue or if it's a hardware issue, checking all your wires, seeing if all your mechanisms function, like just moving them with your hand, and really just like finding that error. And that's the biggest issue I've had
Yep.
is just differentiating if it's software or hardware.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Completely agree. Anything else?
Like on the more like judging side, like a lot of times like judges will come to your pit and ask like questions, and if like your whole team isn't there, like you can like always tell the judges, oh, our team isn't here right now. Could you come back? And like they have to come back. So like if you're alone there or like there's only two people there and like a judge comes, like don't get super stressed out. Like just be like, oh, like my team will be back. Can you come back in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah. Just make sure you tell them like they're in a match or something like that. All right. You want to go for the next question?
Sure. What do you think is the best way to present the robot?
Um, so I think definitely bring the robot into judging is a big thing for me. Have it there, have the game element with you, bring a game element in there so that way they can fully visualize because the judges they won't see you at the field. That way they can fully visualize how that game element passes through your robot and how exactly that works so you can best explain it and they get the best presentation from you about your robot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think making sure that they understand whatever you're talking about. Like, if you're talking about the robot while you're in your script or whatever, motion about the robot. Like, if I'm talking about the intake, I want to show the intake. I want to show it in action. I want to show it spinning and how it works. And if I have like a really cool feature about my robot, I want to make sure that they see that feature and they see that how it works. Um, and whatever feature it is or whatever part of your robot it is.
Yeah, one more thing I'd like to add is depending on the feature, like you can also like when you're manufacturing it, you can make it different colors so it really stands out to the judges. Like if you're talking about a gearbox or a differential or something, that way it really stands out and they can
Hmm.
see it. Or also having a mock-up like that you bring in to show them separately that they can actually see and touch, which gives them a better idea.
Yeah, I think teams they'll either bring like drawings or like printed out CAD models or even prototype models that they prototype. They'll bring that in too to show the judges this is what we started with, this is what we have now, and even maybe this is what we want to iterate on or something like that.
Yeah, and like you can also have like your goals, like talk about your goals and how your robot is like adhering to those goals, and so that way they can like see like exactly like your process throughout the season and your strategy throughout.
Yep. All right, you want to go for the next question?
What do you guys do when you come unprepared to a competition?
Um, I mean, at that point, you just got to do the best you can, depending on how close you are to, I guess, wherever you practice or wherever you do robotics, you might be able to go back and get whatever tools or whatever parts you forgot. But otherwise, say it's like a state competition or something and you're hours away, you just got to make do with what you got.
Yeah, I think it's important that you have a list that you want to follow. Like, oh, I need to bring this, this, and this. And if something comes up in the competition that you need, whether it's a tool or a part, a lot of teams will have tools, right? Tools are something that you should always bring to competition. But if you don't have it, teams will have it. You can borrow it from them, but don't make that a recurring thing. Like you forgot it once, okay, but don't forget again. Like you learn from that mistake. And I think also if you're missing a part, either bring some extra parts, custom parts, but also your COTS parts. Like maybe have some like a little bit of the basic COTS parts that you'll need, and then try to do something with that. Or if you need that, use that. You know what I?
There's also like practice fields. So if you feel like unprepared, like a lot of meets do have practice fields, but if you feel like unprepared with like your driver's practice or like your auto needs some like changes, like you can use the practice fields that are there. But you don't want to like hog them if other teams are trying to use them and you've been on them for a long time. You know, let them have a turn.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
Um, as an early participant in FTC, how did you deal with the presenting competition from other teams?
Is that talking about judging?
I think so.
Yeah, so I guess just continuing with that, practice your presentation before the competition. Practice it multiple times, time yourself because there is a time limit of 5 minutes for your presentation. Time your whole presentation, run through it with your whole team, and also just practice Q&A as well. Like practice every aspect of your presentation. Like if they're gonna ask you specific questions, like we mentioned earlier, that there is a question bank that you can go to. Practice those questions and just check that all your information you're saying lines up with what you put in the portfolio and all your other documentation.
Yeah, I think just being like confident and knowing what you're talking about is really important in the judging room.
Yep.
Wait, did they mean it like that, or did they mean like
Oh, like better teams or something.
the presenting competition, like the competition presented at the competition? The
The, oh, like
Or like the
competition
robot.
from other
yeah,
teams.
like the robots at other teams at the meets. Like
So like other teams competition, like how you're gonna compete.
Or like
yeah,
the robot, like robot was.
I feel like the best way that I've dealt with it in the past is like I guess like when we were on a rookie team, um, hmm, I guess the best thing to do is take inspiration because that meet is not the last one.
Yeah, you'll always have another season where you can learn from that team, and then maybe.
Yeah, but also like other meets during that season itself that
That's
you can go to and you can like create a better version of your robot. I think also like talking to people on the FTC Discord is like a really good way to learn a lot about like how to program and um like I think FTC is like very like you learn it on your own, but the more you do, like you'll definitely reap the benefits. So um, you can become like pretty good just by like continuously working and putting the time in. So wouldn't worry about that too much. Okay. Are there any more questions, guys, that you guys feel like you've been dying to ask? So Dardo, are you ready for this season? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm pretty hyped. Should be fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. He said he'll think it'll be fun.
Oh, he thinks it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun too, especially going into it in my senior year.
Oh yeah.
Um, how's your team doing? Are you guys ready?
Yeah, no, we've been getting ready. I know they're all going to kick off tomorrow. So yeah, it'll be cool.
He said, yeah, they're all right.
Okay. Okay.
Should I just put them on?
And he's
Oh,
just
yeah.
looking at me with a straight face.
Um. Oh wow, I feel like I'm actually here now. Like I'm actually doing the live stream. So, like, can you talk to me about some of the ways that you prepared your team for the season?
Yeah, so again, as I mentioned earlier, we did some programming stuff. We also did an off-season robot where we padded it. We went and we built, designed it, iterated it all the way up to getting it to work. I mean, I think that really helped bring some people's build and CAD skills up, and just the overall design and iteration process, and just give a better like physical understanding of it.
Yeah, for sure. I think like it's a little late now, obviously, but during the summer is like the best time to learn.
Oh yeah.
Like the off season is the like as since you guys are rookies, like it might be a little bit more difficult to win the whole competition in your first year, but I would say that like after leagues and like hopefully you make it to states, but let's say you don't, that time in the off season is really valuable to get started for the next season. And make sure you don't let the stress like take you out, even though it can be a little bit hard sometimes. Yeah, Neho, do you have anything you want to bring up in the final couple moments? What is the worst thing you can do at kickoff? I think the worst thing you can do at any event that's hosted by FTC and you're, dude, you're tightening it. Yeah, this Harov guy. He's a rookie to rookie rescue. I'm waiting for you to finish. I'm not trying to.
Do you want to talk in this one?
Okay, here, just hold this. Okay. So, what is the worst thing you can do at kickoff? I guess, Dardo, are you guys going in person anywhere for kickoff?
Yeah, so there's actually an event here in San Antonio for kickoff. Yeah.
There's an event. Oh, okay, cool. So, what would you say? What's the worst thing you can do?
I mean, I don't know. Me personally, I don't really go into kickoff thinking about what the worst thing that someone could do at kickoff is. Um,
True, but if you had to give me an answer,
Probably like, um, hmm, I don't know. I don't want to say anything that's like ungracious professional. So like spill food on the new field. I don't know.
yeah, I would say, just like, um, just be gracious to everyone, especially since this is your first time. Like if you're a rookie, this is your first time at an FTC event. I would say like, the environment that first creates is like, really nice because to, everybody's so willing to like help and talk to people. So I would say just make sure to be gracious. Don't run around and scream and like just be courteous of everyone there for sure. Okay, I think we're gonna end it off in like 2 minutes. So if anyone has any last questions. Yo, why'd you do that, Nahal? What the hell? No, I'm kidding. I told her to. Okay. All right. Well, here, do you want to take it from here?
All right, I'm back. All right, I think we'll end it off here. Thank you all for attending and asking so many questions. Thank you, Eduardo, for joining. Gave some valuable insight. Wish you best of luck for the season coming up. We'll be in touch, of course. If you have anything.
No, I got nothing else to say. Thank you for having me. I really had a fun time.
Yeah. All right. With that, I guess.
Okay. So we will post the next live date soon, hopefully by tonight. But we'll post it in our Discord and it probably in some other places. Please, if you're in our Discord, feel free to leave us with any advice on our stream and anything you feel like you can change, because this is our first time doing this since last year. So, and with our new system and our new environment, it's like a big challenge, but we're really excited to get into this and teach all of you rookies everything there is to know about FTC and First. So thank you guys all for joining, and we'll end it off here.